Hi everyone, I'm Rosemarie Miller and I am backstage at the Forbes BLK Summit with Celessa Baker, the Vice President of Brand Marketing at Sephora. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Roseman, good to see you today. I'm so excited to be here at this inaugural event this year.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So Celessa, could you tell me a little bit about how you got into being the Vice President of Brand Marketing at Sephora?
It's a journey. I like to truncate my life into two tranches. The first half was entertainment, marketing, sports, and the second half is retail, but now leaning into beauty. When I transitioned from Southern California to Northern California, I worked for Men's Warehouse, and I only got that job from my entertainment background. I worked with Steve Harvey. They were launching a suit line, and they needed somebody to understand the urban market. And when I was there, in the meetings, everybody would talk about, oh, Sephora has the best app, Sephora has the best website. And I was like, well, then I need to go work at Sephora. So I scratched and clawed my way in. I knew a couple of people on the inside. I took a pay cut, I took a title cut just to get in the door, and it was the best decision I made. So 10 years later, I'm still at Sephora.
So what was it about beauty that inspired you?
I think being able to make an impact, coming from music and entertainment where you have your finger on the pulse of culture, you're always at the forefront of cool, new, innovative things. Going into beauty, which was transitioning at the time that influencer landscape was evolving, it gave me an opportunity to take my scrappy, gritty background from music and culture and bring it into the beauty space and make an impact relatively quickly. So it was fun.
How have you seen the landscape change in the beauty industry?
I think first, social media has changed it dramatically, whereas it used to be organizations and companies dictating what consumers would see, and now it's social first, and the consumers are telling us what they need and what they want, and they're very vocal. So that has caused us to have to speed up our go-to-market strategies to make sure that we're more inclusive, that we're listening to the voices in social, because they can make or break your campaign, they can make or break your product with just a post. And so that really changed the landscape, social first, then influencers, and then on the tail of influencers, it was inclusivity. Because now we were seeing voices of unheard individuals or unseen in our industry having a platform that says, wait, you don't have products for my skin tone. This doesn't work for people like me. You need to think about people like me because we're spending money. And that then catapulted the next wave, which is all about inclusivity.
And so how did you put it unseen in the quote unquote?
What I do by the unseen is because we feel like as people of color, we're always seen. We know each other. We were just talking about Howard Homecoming. We know there's a party there. There's something for us to show up for. And our culture has always been at the forefront of what is commoditized in the US. It's just we don't get credit for it. It doesn't become mainstream until mainstream picks it up. And so when I say unseen, it's like we were unseen by the masses. We've always been seen by each other.
I just feel like it's all money green. You know, it's all money is green. So why do you think we truly weren't included back in the day? Because when they saw us, they saw us too.
I think, yes, all money is green, and it is a business, right? And when you think about where we spend our dollars and the impact that we make, it's important for us to have a share of voice in that boardroom, in that seat. So it's not that they didn't think our money wasn't good enough. They just felt like in general market, I can capture Black people too. I don't have to be specialized and market to them. And years ago, the multicultural marketing trend was happening where it's like, no, you need actually specific, unique marketing strategies. Even when in my radio days, there were things called the NonUrban Mandate where they wouldn't buy advertising on urban radio stations because they knew, we already knew it was happening and we would show up anyway. So our dollars have to work harder for us if we want us to be included in the marketing.
Which tell us what those conversations were like as inclusivity was just getting started. Now, what did that go widespread?
It's still happening. I think you have to chip away slowly through the lens of the business. So we can take foundation as the impetus. You need more shade ranges, and you see that Fenty Beauty had 50 shades. Wasn't the first brand to have 50 shades, but it was the first brand to make people of color, Black women specifically, seen and heard and validated, and it was authentic, right? It connected with the consumer. When we go back to other brands and we're saying you need to diversify your shade range, they're looking at a P&L. They're saying, well, shade number 450 only does 1/10 of the volume as shade number 200. How do I make that work in my P&L? And we're saying, even if that shade does less volume on a SKU per SKU basis, not representing people of color, which are going to be the majority in the US, is going to be detrimental to your business long term, because it's not just foundation I'm buying the brand, I might be buying the lipstick, I might be buying the bag, I might be buying other things. And so if I am not seeing myself in your brand, then I know you're not for me, and I'm not going to spend my dollars there.
So what advice do you have for someone who's branding in the beauty business?
I think the first and foremost is know who your desired end consumer or client is, and build your brand authentically for you and that product. Do not let the noise of the industry or the competition of seeing what another brand is doing and just do a different iteration of that. Really be authentic to who you are and what needs you're meeting. I think as Black brands, we also have to loosen the guardrails a little bit and understand that while we might be Black owned, doesn't mean that I'm just for Black people. We know that the consumer dollar goes both ways, and we want to make sure that we're building viable businesses. And so we can't throw out our Black consumers with the bathwater when we're trying to go mainstream, but we have to think about how do we speak to our people uniquely, and then how do we actually grow our business viably in a competitive marketplace.
Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. It's so good to see you. Good to see you.